Hi, Miami. Welcome here at Community Newspapers. This is the Women to Women Show. I am your host, Christina Hernandez, and with me here today is Tania Abouzeide.
Hello,
Did I say
hi.
this right?
Yes, you did.
Okay,
Very good.
good. She is with Wayfinder, and she is your own personal college admissions counselor,
Yes, that is correct.
and you're going to find the way.
Yes, we will help you find your way.
So I know this is a really hot topic for all people. I mean, kids trying to get into college, post grad, parents that need help. So much has
Yes,
changed.
a lot has changed.
So let's just start from like the beginning. How did you, what did the beginnings? How did this all come to fruition?
Well, I launched the Wayfinder February of this year, but I had been doing this unofficially with my family, my friends, my network for about 10 years or so. And so I decided to take the plunge this year and really be intentional with helping young students and their families on the college admissions process. It can be extremely stressful navigating through all the various deadlines, the different requirements, and really the time that they need to prepare, that students need to prepare, and families, right? And it's really important for families to understand that you have to start a little bit earlier, but not just that. It's critically important for families to know that things have changed and things will continue to change, especially in the midst of a global pandemic. So
when I went to college, it was just like taking your SATs. I mean, if you were going to a state school and just that's it.
Right.
And now it's, I mean, just from hearing other friends talking about what their kids are going through, they have so many different, they apply to so many different schools. They have essays for every different school. And it's a
lot.
It's a lot to navigate.
Absolutely.
So I would think having somebody like you to help in that navigation process would be priceless.
Right. So unfortunately, guidance counselors are multitasking. They're overwhelmed with large caseloads. And we're talking, generally in the public school realm, about 400 students to maybe one counselor. How much time are they really spending in going over the college admissions process? About 38 minutes on average, which is not a lot of time. And that's annually. Okay. So you can consider me your personal guidance counselor, if you will, a college admissions consultant. And essentially what I provide is the comprehensive college admissions overview, how to navigate all the various deadlines, how to navigate all the different requirements that are needed in order to make your student more successful in getting in college.
Yeah, where they want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is your background? How, besides doing this for other friends and family, what is your background to this?
So I've been in higher education since 2006, professionally, not as a student, a little bit as a student because I finished.
And when you say higher education, I know what you mean, but perhaps somebody else doesn't.
Working with colleges, universities, and institutions.
College, I mean, so basically anything after high school is higher education.
Post-secondary studies, same thing. So in 2006, I was working for one of the local public universities here, and I was managing graduate programs, working with students into getting into a graduate level MBA program. And that was awesome. I loved working with international students, loved working with students that were just looking to get ahead. After that, I was also working with undergraduate students navigating through the bachelor's degree, working with freshman students, doing freshman orientations, and also teaching a course in student life skills as well. And so I was doing a lot of that while I was doing my master's program in counselor education. And it was when I was doing my practicum in at a middle school that I realized, yikes, the system really isn't set up for me to really help these students and to spend a lot of time with them for the social, emotional, and academic needs that they have. And so I decided to stay in higher education. I was working for another private institution here locally, and I was working with graduate students with their student services, managing graduate level programs, but also working to help them just kind of get through their degree successfully.
Yeah.
And again, I started feeling that like, I need more time.
I'm
I need
too
more.
like spread thin.
Super spread thin, managing, crises, managing, just the logistics of running programs to help students get their degree. And so this year, I took the plunge and decided to launch Wayfinder.
One of the things that kind of stuck in my head, one, I have a really young child. She's still in elementary school.
Yeah.
But I was like, when you said to me, they only have like 10 hours per student or some 30 hours per student. It's like, that's really, in the grand scheme of them going through the whole college process, not a lot.
Yeah.
If that, because some probably take more.
Right. So if you're thinking 38 minutes annually, okay, maybe a little bit more for being generous. That's not a lot of time.
No.
The college application consists of essays. It consists of, obviously, SAT, ACT testing.
Mm-hmm.
It consists of what activities are you doing? What service learning activities are you doing? We're really making a complete package to submit to a university that will take maybe 5 to 10 minutes to look at that application, because they're going through thousands to decide if you're going to come here or not. It can be very intense. And, my job is to kind of remove some of that stress, some of that, provide more clarity to help our students and families.
I would think that there's part psychotherapy in this process.
Yes. It's a lot of Zen talk, a lot of deep breaths, a lot of planning, right? And a lot of adjusting the plan, right? Because not everything goes according to plan.
How soon or how early should people start thinking about college admission?
Wow, great question. So I work with high school students starting from freshman year.
Freshman year.
Yes.
I'm like, why so early?
Well, one of the major components of the college application is course rigor, their classes, their transcripts. And so the first 2 years of high school, freshman year, sophomore year, we're doing a lot of course planning. We're doing a lot of career exploration. We're building our college list. Okay. And mind you, sophomore year, students are taking the PSAT. Okay, to be competitive, to be eligible for national merit scholarships as well. So it's not just senior year anymore. It's not just junior year anymore. We have to start a little bit earlier. Yeah.
I mean, I remember taking SAT like prep classes my junior year. That's about the extent of like my prep work back when. I don't know. That's really probably dating myself, because it's to think that now it starts freshman year.
Yeah.
Like, really, you need someone to help navigate this system. I'm so glad I met you and had this conversation, because my mind just went, oh my God, people got to know more about this.
Absolutely. It's really important, because what you don't want to do is have students rush to get everything out, because colleges will see that. Right? Did you take the time to really write a compelling personal essay that really truly speaks to who you are? Did you take the time while you were in high school to try different things, be a leader, overcome some obstacles, right? These things are happening naturally anyways, but are we capturing it? And that's my job, to help capture these milestones and these activities to help students get into their college of choice.
What would be your top 2 or 3 tips to someone applying for colleges?
Yeah. So I alluded to this earlier. Start early, right? Start having conversations early. Okay. You don't necessarily want to, just say, hey, you're going to college, as a parent talking to your child. We're going to college, we're doing this, but more so have conversations on what do you want your life to look like after high school? What are some of the things that you want to do? right? So having these conversations about the college process, career interests, majors, right? And then, because we're telling kids from, kindergarten, what do you want to be when you grow up? We're asking them, right? And, we know that they're much older folks who we can still ask that question to. And I don't know, you can be all these different things, right? So it's important to start the conversation a little bit early. Secondly, I would say,
because what if they decide, okay, I want to be a marine biologist. And then later down the road, my senior year, I'm like, I want to be a lawyer.
Right.
At least we've started the process.
We've started there. And maybe, they take some science classes and they're like, maybe never mind, right? Because that happens. That happens in college. That happens when you graduate with your degree. You get a job and you're like, oh, wait, never mind. I don't want to do this anymore. Now I have to start over. We're constantly evolving, constantly learning and recreating ourselves. And so, having these conversations and setting these expectations a little bit earlier really sets the foundation. The second thing that I would mention to students as a top tip would be to be open, be open-minded, right? So, you're working with students and they're telling me, this is my top school. I don't want to apply to anywhere else. This is where I want to go, right? And it may not work out.
Mom and dad went to the school down the street and I've got to go there.
I have to be here. Everybody in my family went here and I need to go to this institution. This is part of me. And maybe it doesn't work out for whatever reason. Maybe they weren't admitted, or maybe they were and they get there and they're like, never mind, this is not where I want to be. Right. So it's important to be open-minded and to let the opportunities kind of flow. Right. I like to present new and different out-of-the-box opportunities to students. When we think about higher education, when we think about colleges, we think about that in a vacuum of like the US, right? But there's a whole world out there. There are so many other opportunities looking at international universities all across the globe that might be cheaper, right? That might have different opportunities, different majors, different combinations of degrees that you wouldn't necessarily think of on your own.
I would never.
So I love presenting new opportunities, different scenarios, different pathway programs to students that wouldn't ordinarily know about them just by doing a Google search, right? So number 2 is to be open. And number 3 is a little bit more of a practical tip when we're thinking about college admissions and the college process, right? Where do you want to go? Visiting campuses is really important, right? So it's not the same to do a virtual tour. It's not the same to go on their Instagram or Facebook and say, this looks great. It's not a wise decision to pick a school because they have a really good football team, right? But it's important for students to get a feel for for institutions, and if they can, to visit these institutions, take the time to do summer trips, or if you're doing a family vacation, to maybe take a look at a campus and get a good feel for it, right? Because occasionally what happens, you'll have students that say, no, this is where I'm going. They don't want to be open-minded. They have an idea of what this institution is, and then, okay, maybe it works out and great, but we have a very high transfer rate for students leaving institutions because maybe I didn't attend before I was admitted. So
you know your stuff, I can tell. This is all really great information. And I hope if you have a child, have a friend, or know somebody that is looking to go to college, higher education is how we would say the correct way. Reach out to Tania at wayfinder.org.
Yourwayfinder.com.
Oh, yourwayfinder.com. I'm so sorry. Yourwayfinder.com.